morning. Let's welcome everyone to our January 7th Board of Commissioners agenda meeting, pre-agenda meeting. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. And it's just it takes a little bit of time to get back in the groove, but we're here. We got a lot on our plate. Today, I have the invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance is Vice Chairman Joe Daugherty. We have the approval of the minutes and discussion and adjustment of agenda.
Yes, sir. We do have one walk-on we would like to do. We will put this under consent agenda. It's a motion to approve the Community Services Block Grant Community Anti-Poverty Plan for Wayne Action Group for Economic Solvency, and that's by wages. So it's really just a pass-through and something we have to approve so that they could apply and get their funding. So it's no cost to the county.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, we got some information coming on.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But if we are agreeable, we will put that under number 8 under consent.
Okay. Any other changes, Mr. Honeycutt?
No, sir.
Okay. We have new business. Catch a glimpse by the Public Affairs Office. Oh, by the way, we need to get back to the consent agenda. I'm sorry. I'm getting, we're talking about having short meetings. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start special presentations.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Honeycutt.
We do, after approval of the agenda under special presentations, we do have our quarterly service pin recognition. And then after that will be public comments. And then the appointment committee.
Yes, sir, we have one reappointment today.
And then consent agenda, number 1 is budget amendments, and I'll turn that over to Allison.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First budget amendment is for Literacy Connection, requesting to adjust their salaries, and that is reimbursable by Literacy Connection, so we will be reimbursed for that. For 4H, they received a donation. No, I'm sorry, that wording was wrong. This is for the Robotics Club. They are appropriating their fund balance, and this is specifically the fund balance that 4-H carries over from their user fees. And it's in the amount of $8,000. This is to purchase additional equipment for their Robotics Club. For the Sheriff's Office, requesting to anticipate and appropriate $5,025.02 for insurance refunds. I have 2 here together, number 248 and 249. These are both related to the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council grant. This is basically pass-through funding from Department of Public Safety. They have awarded additional funds to the Transition Reentry Program and Structured Day, so we are appropriating those funds and anticipating the revenue.
Both of those the same amount?
They split it, yes, sir, they split it evenly. They received a certain amount of additional income, and the council usually votes on how to appropriate that additional revenue. Number 250 is for our 1920 Debt County Project Fund related to the Dixie Trail facility. We had not budgeted for the architect fees. So this is appropriating funds for those architect fees. It was not to exceed a certain amount based on what the commissioners agreed to. We're upfronting those funds and then plan to be reimbursed from bond proceeds or debt proceeds, however we finance it. For the library, They have received a grant in the amount of $5,000. This is the LSTA Community Connection, and they are appropriating that to their program line item. Our last budget amendment is for social services. They are requesting to appropriate, reallocate funds from their program reimbursements in the amount of $12,869 and appropriate additional revenue from the state to offset the cost of additional temporary help needed. I know we've talked about this before, but they do have a certain level of service that they have to provide that's agreed upon with the state. And with the LEAP program coming from December through March, they anticipated needing additional staff due to vacancies. Are there any questions on those?
Any other questions on budget amendments? Next is number 2, motion to approve proclamation in support of National Radon Action Month. This is a resolution that we received over the managers and I think clerk's listserv that I think the state is trying to make people aware of the dangers of radon and making sure that they're getting testing within their houses. So. And then next, number 3, motion to approve the sale of surplus properties jointly owned with the city of Goldsboro, 1404, 1406 Crepe Myrtle Street, 209 Dewey Street, and 213 Dewey Street, Goldsboro, as requested by the city of Goldsboro, and I'll turn that to Andrew.
Good morning. We've received a couple of requests from the city of Goldsboro. 1404 and 1406 Crepe Myrtle Street are recent foreclosures. I believe we foreclosed on those last year. And there's an adjacent property owner who's interested in purchasing that. That purchase price is $1,500. That's approximately half of the tax value. I can tell you there's no structures on that property, and $1,500 is probably a really good deal for that property given the state of it. 209 Dewey Street and 213 Dewey Street. If you recall, the city has that special session law from 2004 which allows them to sell non-conforming lots to adjoining property owners for $1. So that's what's going on here. They're selling these lots for $1. I do know Mr. Cox. He's actually come into my office and talked about some of these properties, and I believe he's trying to buy up that whole block and maybe run it into a nonprofit or something like that. So that's what they're trying to do with Dewey Street, and that's the reason for the $1 purchase price. Those are just non-conforming lots.
Question. Even though they're selling it for $1, the tax value is.
It's still based off
It's
the,
still, so the tax value will not
change.
It just stay the same? Okay.
And if he were to qualify as a nonprofit, I don't think he does at this point. He would have to file for the paperwork in order to, exempt, but I don't think that's an issue. But the tax value still remains as $1,530 and then $1,670.
Okay.
So we're really not going to lose any money on that deal?
No, not at all.
Any other questions, for Andrew?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, number 4 is motion to approve refunds for Ryder truck rental by the Wayne County Tax Department, and we've had some double billing, and Alan is here if you have any questions.
Explain it just a little bit, please.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
What this is, Ryder Truck Rental owns lots of vehicles. Obviously, they rent off during the year. These particular vehicles are what we call IRP vehicles. They're multi-state vehicles. They go across state lines. Those are actually reported to the state and paid to the Department of Revenue, and the money funneled back to us. For some reason, because they do have a varying amount of size vehicles and stuff, they actually list their vehicles with us as well, the smaller vehicles with us. And somebody in their accounting department or somewhere actually listed some of the ones they weren't supposed to be listing with us. And so it ended up, they actually paid double. They paid the state and paid us as well. And so that was discovered by a new person that came in, and they're allowed to request a refund up to 5 years. And that's pretty much what this is.
Okay.
We're not losing anything. We're just having to give back a little bit that we're overpaid.
So this is a 5-year return here?
I think it was, what years was it, Carol? It was, it said on that, thank you.
06, 7, 8, something.
No, it's 15, I think, was the
15.
oldest year. Let's see. If I remember correctly, there was 3 years involved.
Yeah.
I think it was 15, 17, and 18 maybe, best I remember. So it was like, it's a 3 out of 5 year was a refund request. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. Next is number 5, motion to approve preliminary plat for Weatherstone subdivision as recommended by the Wayne County Planning Board, and Barry is here.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
This is a preliminary plat for Weatherstone. It is 11 lots located on a little over 8 acres located on Mount Carmel Church Road, about halfway between Dog Pate Road and NC 111 or Pate Town Road. The average lot size is about 23,500 square feet. There are no improvements at this time. As I said, this is a preliminary, so before they start any work or any of their detailed planning, they do have to get preliminary approval first. Once they get preliminary approval, then they'll start their detailed planning, their construction, and they'll come back with a final plat at that point. The planning board has reviewed this request and recommends approval.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Barry.
All right, thank you, Barry. Next is number 6, motion to approve Wayne County fiscal year 20 ROPE application designating Gateway as recipient of elderly funds, the rural funds, and the employment funds, and the appropriate budget amendment. And Carol handed you that information before the meeting began. And again, this is the Rural Operating Assistance Program funds that we apply for and Gateway receives.
I do notice it's the same amount in this upcoming year as it was last year. It's no increase.
That I'm not. Don's not here. I'm not sure why the amount would be the same unless it just didn't increase funding.
Okay.
Is it because we didn't get a budget?
That may be a pretty good,
Good deal. Lucky to get what we got.
yeah.
Well, I think you're exactly right because it's a continuation of last year's budget.
Yeah.
Good answer.
So, and then number 7, motion to approve farm leases for properties jointly owned with the city of Goldsboro as requested by the city of Goldsboro, contingent upon final approval of agreements by county attorneys. And that I'll have Andrew.
Good morning again. Approximately about a month ago, Jennifer Collins over at the city reached out to us. There's some joint properties that are owned with the county and city that are being leased right now by the city, and they are paying us our half of those leases. It's comparable to what we do with property that we own that are just county leases. So they advertise these. I guess the lessees actually wanted a multiple year commitment since they're going to put some money in there. So that's the awards are what you have in your agenda right now. I do know that Kevin out at the Cooperative Extension helped Jennifer get these rates together. And I talked to Kevin and I feel pretty good about this. This is probably in line with our most recent ones that we did with the county farm leases, maybe a little bit better. I think they got a little bit better prices than what we got. So my understanding is that they approved these at their meeting, their last meeting, and then we just need approval, and then Borden and I can work out the leases, get those executed, and then finance would recoup half of the lease per year.
Any questions?
Are we drafting the leases?
We are. I'm working with Ron Lawrence, the city
Okay,
attorney.
okay.
Mhm.
So Ron is actually, the two of you are.
Right,
Okay.
right. I gave him a draft of what we use for ours, so we'll probably do something similar to what we have in place for our county.
Well, and I think our leases are on 3 years now, too.
I believe that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're handling our leases, our county leases the same as we always have.
Yes, sir. I believe we have,
Auction. We have public auction on
I think we have one more year on those. I think we're coming into our third year, so those will be up for a bid again later this year.
Yeah, well, we do a public auction.
We do.
That's what we've been doing, right?
That's what we did last
Okay.
time, yes,
All
sir.
right.
Well, is that, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I mean, is that successful, or do we need to follow suit, kind of what the city's doing? What, I mean,
I think we
need to
probably-
look at- We need to look at where we can get the most revenue.
I think we're coming up, like I said, into our last year. Probably what we need to do is look and see, what the rates are right now, speak to Kevin, and try to see what the best route would be if we still want to do an auction, or if we want to do sealed bids. But I know this fall, I think it would be up again for renewal, so.
Well, and that's a good point that Commissioner Aycock's making, and that is, it might be that if they're getting a better results, we might need to change our method.
Yeah, I mean, I can say these are a little bit, not significantly, but they're higher than what we got, when we bid them out 2 years ago, if I recall.
It may be one of those things that we set a minimum of what we expect, and then you bid over that or auction it above that at the starting place.
But on a sealed bid, you wouldn't have a minimum.
You can set a minimum. You can set.
Well, I'm not so sure that's what we need to do.
Is it legal to talk about this in closed session and then come back out and talk?
We'll talk about it when it comes up a year from now.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, all
I
right.
mean, we're just collecting payments right now. We should be on the third year, so.
We got plenty of time to
We got a
discuss
little
it.
bit of time.
Mr. Aycock tried to ease one in on you, Mr.
But I know, I just, we don't want to gouge anybody, but, I mean, it's our job to get the most rent that we can out of this property.
Mr. Camardi.
This I see, this represents, all of them represent $156 per acre. Maybe I missed this, but what method did they use to come to that dollar figure? Did they look at other counties? Did they
They
take it
worked
somewhere?
They actually, Jennifer Collins with the city went out and talked to Kevin at Cooperative Extension and got a base rate for what would be a going rate for this area. Because she, like I, didn't have, any knowledge of it. So she went out to Kevin on her own and got these base rates, and he thought this was a fair price.
They did well.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna get them to
that's-
negotiate.
These are pretty good rates.
That is
Yeah.
good rates. I've heard folk who had farmland in the family for years, and the rates that they were getting were significantly less than that. So it's good to see somebody has done some research to see exactly what
Right.
would be a talking price.
And I can tell you too, when we come up for bid, I know, for example, we just recently bought some property out by the airport. There's a lessor on that right now. So I mean, we have some more property that we really need to take a look at and add to our leases, I think, and kind of roll all that in. I know the airport board is going to be looking at that option, that one particular property, but I think we can take a look at all the property we own and see if we can add some parcels to it.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And then number 8, as we discussed in the agenda discussion, is the walk-on for wages. If there's no additional questions under consent, new business, we do have a video from our Public Affairs, a Catch a Glimpse video, county manager's comments, Board of Commissioners committee reports and comments, closed session, and then adjournment. Or we're talking about maybe going to a recess since that we may be having a joint meeting with the school board on Thursday. So we'll just, instead of calling a special call meeting, it'll be just a recess meeting.
I neglected to mention just a few minutes ago that Commissioner Joe Gurley will be here at 9 o'clock. He's running a little late this morning. I'm sorry?
I said, Joe is missing, isn't he?
Yeah, but he'll be here at 9 o'clock this morning. I just wanted to let all the commissioners know. Anything else? Do any commissioners have anything on our agenda that you have questions or add to the existing agenda? Okay, we have a closed session.
Yes, sir, to discuss matters relating to the location of businesses in Wayne County and to consult with your attorneys to preserve attorney-client privilege.
Okay, have your motion. Go to closed
So
session.
moved.
All in favor, raise your right hand, please.